John Hook's Newsmaker starts now.
Thanks for joining us on Newsmaker. Sunday, thousands will honor Charlie Kirk in a remembrance gathering at State Farm Stadium. President Trump, along with the Vice President and several cabinet members, will be there. I sat down with the Chief Operating Officer of Turning Point, Tyler Bowyer, to talk about his close friend, Charlie Kirk. You're one of Charlie's closest friends. You guys really came through the ranks together. You joined in 2015, I believe.
Yep. I met Charlie in 2014.
How are you doing, first of all?
We're doing good. Obviously, all things considered, it's been a week, unlike anything else. I think the hardest part is kind of losing, the person that you would consider one of your closest friends, one of your closest allies. At the same time, the person that helps you run all the business, that everyone looks up to. Obviously, we're seeing the flooding of prayers, and we're feeling it. All of our people are feeling it, but we're hanging in there.
How is Erica doing?
Erica is remarkably strong. She has been so brave throughout this whole thing, and quite honestly, an inspiration for all of us.
She's been very protective of the kids, and I want to clear something up because we have not gotten a clear answer. Were the kids there?
No, they were not.
Were they in Utah?
No, they were not.
Okay.
So yeah, there's been a lot of rumor mill stuff online with all of that. They were not. We're praying so hard for his children.
Of course.
Who he kissed goodbye that morning. And
he left that morning to fly to Utah
right.
for that rally.
That's right.
Tyler, most of us know Charlie through these interactions with kids on college campuses. Can you fill in the picture of Charlie the person?
Who you see online is exactly who Charlie was behind the scenes. I met Charlie, basically just coming into young manhood and coming out of his teenage years. And ever since day one I've ever met Charlie, he's been a person that's endearing, cares very much, the most passionate person you'll ever meet. I've turned down a lot of political jobs in my life. I never thought I would actually end up working in politics because so many people were just difficult to work for.
It's an ugly business.
It's awful. And when I met Charlie, and I was just telling this story at ASU, I flew out to meet Charlie. It was negative 10 degrees in Chicago. I flew Spirit Airlines. He put me on Spirit Airlines to go meet him. We stayed in a Holiday Inn Express. But through all of that shined through just this incredibly passionate young man who wanted to do what was right by the conservative movement. And that was unique at the time because this was in the shadows of the Obama 2.0 era.
Out of favor at that point.
Yeah, conservatives just were kind of lost and didn't really know how to engage and how to talk to the public, and young people, and particularly college campuses, were basically just completely wiped clean of anything that had two sides to a story. And Charlie had this vision and this passion to be able to go there and do it. And it was easy for me as a young guy that was coming out of college here at ASU to want to join up and help spread that message.
So the vision from the get-go was, let's go right into the belly of the beast, so to speak.
That's right.
And engage these kids.
How Charlie died was exactly the way that he started, which was going right in, face to face, the belly of the beast, behind enemy lines, as you would call it. But a lot changed since those first few months, those first few years. When we first started, it was hard. It was really hard. I would stand out on campus and get shouted down, but Charlie and I would be standing there on campus trying to stop kids. No, you couldn't get anyone to stop, and they would scream at you and all those things. But by the end of this, as we know, the fanfare was huge. I mean, the amount of shift that we saw to kids that were aware of Charlie, wanted to follow him, ask him questions, be there. The excitement was palpable.
So you're telling me who we see on video, that is the essence of Charlie?
That is the essence of Charlie. Charlie Kirk, the passion that you see with Charlie, especially at these Prove Me Wrong events that he was so famous for on TikTok and everything else, his interactions with people, and you could see it. People refer to as Christ-like, as very sweet, as very endearing. that's who he was with one-on-one with
Magnanimous.
people. Yeah, totally magnanimous.
Is it, with Charlie, was it really as simple as faith, family, country?
Yeah, I mean, everything, Charlie has said this numerous times, the things that he wants to be remembered for are his faith and his faith in God, putting God first. That was everywhere. You walk through Charlie's office, you walk through with any of our people, that they will tell you that right away. That's who he was.
Did he ever balk at thinking, if I talk about faith, I may turn some of these young kids off? I can't get the political message out there. He never seemed to shy away from it. He embraced it almost in every answer.
You know what's really interesting? I just came across this week our first interaction where he introduced his faith to where it met politics. And it actually happened right here in Arizona. It happened at GCU, of course, a great Christian university. But that university didn't have a ton of political. And so we had gone there in 2017 to go speak to a class, and where he married together how politics really was downstream from his culture, which stemmed from his faith. And we went over, we drove over, I remember driving over with him. We went in, we didn't know what to think because, again, think about this era. This era was the post-Obama, super libertarian era, and nobody talked about religion. It was actually kind of an omission of religion. And he had gone into that event, and there was probably about 50 kids in the classroom, and spoke so eloquently about how his faith impacts his politics, not the other way around. Not how his politics impacts his faith, but how his faith impacts his politics. And we walked out of there, and I remember he was like, we were high-fiving because he felt so good. He was like, wow, I want to do a lot more of this. I want to talk about this.
So you think that kind of lit the match?
Totally did. I mean, he's always been a great Christian, a man of faith, but he's a young guy at that time. And we come out of there, and we were thinking, hey, this is a huge facet of the conservative movement that's missing, that needs to be talked about with young people. And wouldn't you know it, we can see the repercussions of those decisions because it has shifted the dialogue on college campuses all over.
Can you explain why Arizona for Turning Point? How did that all happen?
Well, I'm here.
I know.
So I'm from here.
Did you bring him here and say, this is where you should do it?
That's right.
You're the reason.
So I don't know if I want to call myself the reason. I think Erica's the reason. I think ultimately if it would have been for Erica being here, probably God wouldn't have got Charlie to nudge him to be here. But yeah, I'm a 7th generation Arizonan. We were in Chicago. That's where Charlie's from. He's a Chicago boy through and through, Cubs fan. But those negative 10-degree winters are really tough to get people to move to. And so I remember, I actually remember exactly where I was standing when I got the phone call, and he's like, that's it. You know, we can open up an office in Phoenix, and we did. We had an office. I originally opened in Mesa, right down the street from where I lived, and then we ultimately got where we got it now, right by the Arizona Grand Resort. But it was a hard sell at the beginning because he's a Chicago boy.
Sure.
And I got him here, and he was a little cautiously optimistic about what Arizona would look like, and then he met Erica, and that was an easy sell.
That sealed the deal.
That sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Erica was really helped, my Chamber of Commerce pitch on moving to Arizona. But we moved everything to Arizona. We offered everyone that we had in Chicago to move to Arizona, brought everyone here, and we began to build.
Can you give me a sense of how you're reading what's happening on social media, the good and the bad? You're seeing testimonials about Charlie Kirk, particularly from African Americans, saying, I defy you to find the racism in Charlie Kirk if you watch these videos. We're getting that side, then we're getting the other side.
Yeah, I've seen just such an overwhelming positive response. I think the thing that brought us to tears, and I think so many of our staff kind of to our knees this last weekend, was seeing how many people were committing to go to church for the first time. Again, going back to Charlie's mantra was, hey, focus on God first, then put your family, then politics, then your country. We saw millions and millions of comments, posts, reports of going to church, ordering a Bible for the first time. That's exactly, I know Charlie's looking down right now going, wow, I want to be part of that. I wish I was here to actually engage with that. I know he's having some heavenly FOMO right now, because he would very much like to be down here interacting with people and interacting with the kids that would be on his upcoming tour to talk about these things. But the positivity is just so overwhelming. You can't really have any of that sunshine without seeing some darkness. It certainly, we see some fractals of these negative things that are out there. But I have a lot of faith in the American people. People are slapping that down really hard, and they're really embracing what I think was my friend's full message.
How would Charlie, since you knew him so well, how would Charlie react to the impulse to cancel or silence people who are speaking critically of him?
Yeah, I mean, he would reject it. We actually had a debate on this the week before he passed, before he was murdered. We have a show that we do every week. It's called Thought Crime. That's on his podcast, and we have the debates about these very issues. And this issue came up, which was about free speech, and Charlie's position was very, very clear, which is that, hey, bad speech, hate speech, negative speech is part of the First Amendment.
You protect the speech you hate.
You protect the speech you hate so you can go out. And he's always been clear about that.
So he'd be uncomfortable with these pushes to silence and get people fired?
Well, look, part of free speech is also sometimes firing people. I mean,
if a company has a policy and it reflects poorly on the company.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the right to associate, right?
Right.
Your right to associate is part of your First Amendment. A boss doesn't have to keep somebody on staff that has a really bad opinion, and that's part of the human interaction, the sociology of everything. But I don't think people would want to, the First Amendment right to say those things. Like, you can go say those things. Go work for somebody that is okay with you saying those things.
That's where Charlie would be on this.
That's where he would be on this.
That's so interesting.
And there are tons of people with bad ideas. It's the people with bad ideas that make the good ideas look so good. And he said that many times. I know my friend was unbothered by people that hated him. He was completely unbothered by it.
That's an incredible thing you just said, because most people, no matter how tough they may be, the criticism gets them. It bothers them at some level. You're saying it didn't.
The thing about Charlie Kirk was that not very much bothered him, except for the things that involved his faith and his family. Politics did not. He was concerned about his relationship with his Savior first. He was concerned with his relationship with his wife and his kids, his family. The relationships he's had with others that are out. I mean, there's been tons of people in politics who have let him down. I think he would tell you this. Mm-hmm. I've watched it. Tons of people who have, there's in politics you have lots of betrayals. You have lots of changes of the guard. You have lots of changes of opinion. He didn't allow those things to limit his message whatsoever or his passion for the conservative movement.
More with Turning Point's Tyler Bowyer when we return on Newsmaker. Welcome back. Continuing my conversation with Turning Point Chief Operating Officer Tyler Bowyer. Bowyer joined forces with Charlie Kirk in 2015 when Turning Point was in its infancy. And Bowyer pushed Charlie to headquarter the operation Turning Point here in the Valley. Charlie, his wife Erica, and their 2 kids built a life here. Fitting that memorial be held right here in the Valley at State Farm Stadium. What can we expect at State Farm Stadium this weekend?
Oh, goodness. I don't even know what to expect.
You believe it'll be filled?
It's going to be more than filled. I think this is going to be one of the largest gatherings of people that we've seen.
Does this become a statement?
I think
solidarity?
I think it already has been. I think we've been blown away with. I don't even think those of us that knew Charlie as well as we do understood the impact that Charlie Kirk had on the world. We are seeing, I don't think we've ever seen rallies and vigils and things like that, where thousands of people are coming out in basically every community, and we're getting sent this from all over the world, much less all across the country. I think this weekend you're going to see more people show up for Charlie, for the conservative movement, for his message, for his message about his faith, than you've ever seen before.
The president will be there. He will speak as well.
Yep.
Charlie was early on a little bit iffy on Donald Trump. Is that safe to say?
Very, very early on, but goes back to the story I was telling you before we started, was I hosted the first Trump rally that ever existed. So we did that here in Phoenix.
Down here at the convention center.
July 11th, 2015. Charlie Kirk was with me when I fielded the call to do it. Charlie Kirk was with me when we were planning the event, and Charlie Kirk was with me on camera when I was fielding everything with CNN and everything else. There's actually a funny story. We were in Chicago. I flew to Chicago right after we hosted the Trump rally here to be with Charlie, because we were hosting events. And we went to the CNN studio because they wanted to have me on camera to reflect on what just happened, because I was the primary speaker and organizer for the event. And Charlie was right next to me right off camera, coaching me the whole time. And I don't do too much on camera. I don't really enjoy this. I'm not as good at it as you are or Charlie was. But he was right there from the very beginning coaching, and he was always super supportive of the president.
He did not sense the same. Well, in other words, why did you feel Donald Trump was the guy? You were an early adoptee toward Donald Trump. Charlie, though, was still kind of sitting back.
Yeah, for a short amount of time.
Did he have concerns about Trump's faith? Did he?
No, I think it was just like everybody, right? Like everybody at the time early on was.
They discounted him.
Yeah, Trump was like 15th in the polls.
He was a sideshow.
In Iowa, and then he came here, and then it went bananas. So it was that moment. I mean, Charlie was very much part of, again, that whole planning process, being right with us. Like if I hadn't had been with him through the Turning Point USA era, right? I don't even know if I would have taken that on at the time. It was all Charlie's mentorship, even though he's younger than me and everything else, like it was that helped spark, I think, this whole Trump revolution.
Did you ever wonder why he didn't become an evangelist or become a minister, become a religious figure rather than namely a political one, as we view him?
So I think there's parts of him that wanted to. He was really good at it. He started in politics, right? So he started in this whole thing where it's like his passion was saving the country, defending the republic, focusing on, at the early times, almost exclusively eliminating the national debt and these issues that for young people really matter a whole lot. It was his faith as he matured, right? That was so much part of his life, on his day-to-day life. Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirk.
Where does Turning Point go now without Charlie? Who steps into that? Everybody's thinking there'll be another Charlie. That's impossible. That can't happen.
There is no person that will replace Charlie Kirk. That's for certain. Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, our Turning Point ecosystem is really blessed because we're structured. Nothing has changed. Like I said, before we got on camera here, is right now this memorial that's being planned is probably going to be one of the biggest events that the president shows up to ever. It's going to be huge, and that's because our team is planning it and able to work through it. But every program that we have is going through the roof right now. High school chapters for Turning Point USA, college chapters for Turning Point USA, at Turning Point Action, our coalitions, and getting involved for ballot chasing is going through the roof. We're going to be registering thousands of voters at State Farm Stadium on Sunday. So we are ready for the fight. It's going to be trying to live up to Charlie Kirk's name instead of having him here in person with us, which kills us all.
The college events will continue in some form.
The college events are continuing.
Yeah.
So every single event outside of Colorado State that was supposed to be hosted this week is happening. People have stepped up to speak in Charlie's stead for this entire tour.
I've got two more things that I got, since you're here, I've got to ask you about. Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley said this week that the FBI's probe of President Trump in 2020 targeted Republican groups, and Turning Point was one of them. This came from an FBI whistleblower.
Yep.
Did you sense that there was something going on? Do you believe that's true?
Yes. 100%.
No doubt.
There's no doubt. We've been targeted. There are individuals that are elected and within the bureaucracy of the previous administration that it was super clear that we were targeted.
You believe they saw you as a threat?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Final thing, a judge in Michigan this week threw out all the charges against the so-called fake electors. Other people call them alternative electors or alternate electors. They threw that case out. It's almost identical to the case in Arizona.
That's correct.
You're one of the defendants in that case.
That's correct.
How do you think that plays into this, and where do you think this case now is going?
Well, where it is currently is it got remanded back to the grand jury because the state, the AG's office, didn't properly even tell the grand jury the law from the Electoral Act. So right now it's remanded here. That's where we're at currently. We know that the response that we saw in Michigan, the judge even said, hey, none of these people were trying to do anyone any harm.
The judge said that the prosecution failed to prove the defendants intended to commit fraud.
Yeah, there's some concerns in many places. You know, I have to be careful about how I address that here, but there's some concerns that politics play a significant role with the way that this was approached. We know that there were federal investigators that were talking to individuals in these specific swing states. And, you know, all I can say is that I think the judge, who is not a conservative judge in Michigan, got it right. And here in Arizona, we'll wait to see how that takes hold.
You think it could end the same way?
I mean, I would hope so. I think that that's the case because, again, we have some really incredible people that were some of the top activists within the Republican Party here in Arizona who were being targeted, I think, quite unjustly. Some of them older, some of them senior. I mean, we're talking about some grandmas here. One lady who was targeted as part of this, her husband died of brain cancer in the middle of all of this. I mean, the amount of grief and targeting that's happening here, most people just don't agree with. And so I'd like to see a place here in Arizona where we just have a debate of ideas like Charlie Kirk had on campus. We should have a debate of ideas and, you know, not try to equip the state, whether it's Democrat or Republican, and utilize lawfare to try to take out your political opponents.
Final thing, what do you think Charlie brought to the world?
Charlie Kirk, the Charlie Kirk that I met as, you know, a extremely young man developing into a husband and a father, had always been a person that cared about the little person. He was a guy who would have a conversation with anybody, whether it was in a restaurant or sitting down on a bus or on campus, a billionaire, the president. He would try to persuade just about anybody to his viewpoint. And he would do it lovingly, he would do it gently, and he would spend as much time as was necessary with you to bring you to his side. I hope that many of us can follow that same tactic that Charlie took.
Tyler Bowyer, Chief Operating Officer for Turning Point Action. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We're back in a moment on Newsmaker. Thanks for watching Newsmaker. We close tonight sending our condolences and our prayers to the friends and family of Charlie Kirk.